So there was a recent video posted by Vice that is called "Cops Are Using AI to Track You Right Now." And it talks about this new technology that governments around the world are using to track people and profile them without telling them or without asking for their consent. The scary part is that they can do it just by taking a picture of you and posting it on social media, or even if you have a public Instagram account or a public Facebook page, they can take those images and put them into databases and then track you and follow you around with their AI cameras. So this is a really important topic, and I wanted to discuss it with you guys. I think it's really important that we know what is going on, because if we don't, then these companies can keep doing it and we won't even know about it. So let's get started. Here's a summary of the video in 5 bullet points, and then at the end of the video, I'll give you my thoughts. The first bullet point is that cops have access to AI software that lets them find anyone by matching faces in photos. The second is that police have access to massive databases of images, which means that once they have a picture of you, they can compare that picture to millions of others and see if there are any matches. The third is that these searches can lead to real-life consequences. For example, one man named Christopher Gatlin was arrested by the police because they thought he had robbed a convenience store, but it turned out that he hadn't. He was just an innocent bystander who looked similar to the actual robber. He ended up spending 16 months in jail before someone finally proved that he was innocent. The fourth is that these mistakes happen more often than you might think. According to one estimate, as many as 28 million Americans could be wrongly arrested every year because of mistaken identity. And the fifth is that these mistakes are especially harmful to marginalized communities, especially African Americans, who are disproportionately men. In the US, this technology has been used to track people of interest in criminal investigations, which could include everything from following a person's movements to identifying their associates and even predicting their future behavior. This technology has also been used to enforce curfews, monitor protests, and identify suspects in crimes. There are companies like Clearview AI that have built huge databases of images, and they sell them to police departments around the world. They claim that they have at least 50 billion images of people in their database, and they say that this data comes from publicly available sources like social media and the internet. However, it is not clear how much of this data is actually public and how much of it was collected without people's knowledge or consent. There are lots of concerns about the accuracy of facial recognition technology. And there are lots of stories of people who have been wrongly accused of crimes because the police thought that they looked like a suspect in a crime. One of the most famous cases was the case of a man named Christopher Gatlin. He was arrested by the police because they thought that he had robbed a convenience store. But it turned out that he hadn't. He was just an innocent bystander who happened to look like the actual robber. He ended up spending 16 months in jail before someone finally proved that he was innocent. There are lots of other cases like this one. And it is not clear how many people are wrongly accused of crimes each year because of mistaken identity. But some estimates say that it could be as many as 28 million people in the US alone. When these mistakes happen, they can have serious consequences. People can lose their jobs, their homes, and even their freedom. And the problem is likely to get worse as this technology gets better and cheaper. It is especially harmful to marginalized communities, especially African American men who are disproportionately wrongly accused of crimes. That's not to say that other groups are not also affected by this technology. Everyone is affected by it. But that's just to say that we should be paying attention to this issue and talking about it more. One of the biggest problems is that this technology is being used without our knowledge or consent. We don't know that it's being used against us until something goes wrong. And by then, it's too late. We need to talk about this issue before it gets worse. We need to make sure that we have the right to privacy and that the police are only using this technology for legitimate purposes. If you want to learn more about this issue, you can check out the links in the description below. In the meantime, here are my thoughts on this issue. I think it's really scary that the government can take our images without telling us and then put them into databases where the police can search through them to find us. I also think it's scary that the police can use this technology to track us and follow us around. It feels like a violation of our privacy, and it makes me wonder what else they're redoing that we don't know about. I also think it's scary that this technology is being used to wrongly accuse people of crimes. I know that this is not intentional, but it's still happening. And it's scary to think about what would happen if someone was wrongly accused of a crime that they didn't commit. I think it's important to remember that this technology is not perfect. It can make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes can have serious consequences. I also think it's important to remember that this technology is being used against marginalized communities, especially African American men who are disproportionately wrongly accused of crimes. Finally, I think it's important to remember that we have a right to privacy and that the police should not be using this technology to violate that right. I think we should be talking about this issue more and making sure that we have laws in place to protect us from the government taking our images and putting them into databases without our knowledge or consent. I also think we should be talking about whether it's okay for the police to use this technology to track us and follow us around. And I think we should be talking about how we can make sure that this technology is used fairly and accurately, so that innocent people are not wrongly accused of crimes. What do you think? Is this technology a threat to our privacy rights? Should we be more worried about the government tracking us and profiling us? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please hit the like button. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.